Gananartana Paro. Is that too low? Sounds a little low. Start a little higher. Is it okay? Yep, next. Krishna Kirtana Gan. Too high. Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro Premamritam Bodhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priyakaro Nirmasara Pujito Shri Chaitanya Shri Shachi Panayashita. Ivasika Niravari Bhava Vijay Ujjvala Bharana Ganga Bhara Durga Ivasika Niravari Bhava Vijay Dhruva Pavana Kripaya Lesham Shanhana Manisha Shri Shachi Ayam Gajaran Bharava Vikara Sujana Sarjana Nagarishara Bhavaya Bhajana Karana Karana Aranam Bharadaya Charukha Thoga Indru Devindita Nakrataya Ruchidam Kaupita Nila Guna Nama Vinoda Asanamami Chachi Chachi Vigalita Nayana Kamala Jalakara Sushana Navarasa Avavikara Gatiyati Mandara Nitya Vilasam Antanamami Chachi Chachi Kanayam Chanchara Charu Charna Gati Ruchira Manjira Ranjita Padajita Manjira Chandra Vinindita Sitala Varanam Chanamami Chachi Chachi Kanayam Chitakati Dora Kamadalu Gandam Vidyakale Varamundita Mundam Sujala Kalmasa Kandana Gandam Chanayamami Chachi Nindita Vindara Ruchira Malayaja Virachita Ujala Tilasam Nandana Chashi Sachikaraya Nindita Aruna Kamala Dalanayana Adanulam Dita Shri Vijayukara Kalivara Kaishara Nartata Vesha Tatana Mani Chashi Ujvala Varana Dura Varadeha Lasita Niravari Baba Videha Ujvala Varana Pavana Kupaya Vesham Samvana Mantra Shakti Kanaya Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Jai Gaura Hari Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Gaura Hari. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Krishna Deva Bhavandam Bande Krishna Deva Krishna Deva Bhavandam Bande Nijapara Pankaja Makarande Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Yarapi Samarishi Vitirapi Pashyati Natava Napagra Marichir Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Ikani Chani Shamyatavachuta Tadapit Padutta Ruchim Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Bhakti Ridanshati Gadyapi Madhava Natvai Mama Kila Matri Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Parameshvara Tata Rati Tavarika Guru Katha Katha Navidatri Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande Ayam Navirodhyaya Sanatana Kalita Vikarasavaram Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande Vivasati Nityam Hamritanindati Vindan Madhuri Masaram Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande O Lord Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you. Please fix my bee-like mind in the nectar of your lotus feet. O Achyuta, although the great Lord Brahma, in his trance of samadhi, is unable to see even a particle of the effulgence emanating from the tips of the nails of your lotus feet, still I desire this vision, for I have heard of the wonderful waves of your mercy. O Madhava, although my devotion for you does not come forth even a little bit, because you are the Supreme Lord above all, you are the accomplisher of the impossible. O Sanatan, your lotus feet surpass even the nectar of the gods. Finding in this lotus flower of your feet the essence of sweetness, which is endowed with truly wonderful mellows, I pray that today the bee of my mind may eternally reside there. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande Bhavantam Vande Guru Puja. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Payeche Keba 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 Namasheshtam Manamapishachi Putramatra Sarupam Rupam Tasya Grajam Urupurim Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivadamaho Radhika Madhavasham Rapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Guru Tannatosmi Hey Guru Gyanadadina Bando Swananda Data Paranaika Sindo Vrindavanasti Nahita Vitai Rasida Radha Pranaya Prachara Hey Dina Bando Paranaika Sindo Ruprasada Mai Mandamude Laksha Parade Bahupapagade Patpada Padme Sumatishtra Krishna Yadyapi Amar Guru Chaitanya Das Tatapi Janiye Amidhahara Prakash Guru Krishna Rupana Shastrira Brahmane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karena Bhakta Gane Shiksha Guru Keta Jani Krishnana Swarupa Antaryami Bhakta Shrestha Eduriru Naivo Payantya Pachitim Davayastavesha Ramayusha Pikridam Ridam Udasmaranta Yotara Mahista Dubridham Ashubham Vadunam Acharya Chaitya Vahusha Swagatim Yanakti. Without serving the representative of Krishna, nobody can approach Krishna. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachi Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatana Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kund and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Shri Radhika and Madhava. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I'm a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore grace me with your mercy, that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. Although I know that my spiritual master is a servitor of Sri Chaitanya, I know him also as a plenary manifestation of the Lord. Every living entity is eternally a servant of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Therefore the spiritual master cannot be other than a servant of Lord Chaitanya. The spiritual master's eternal occupation is to expand the service of the Lord by training disciples to the service attitude. According to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotees. The relationship of a disciple with his spiritual master is as good as his relationship with the Supreme Lord. Spiritual masters always represent themselves as the humblest servitors of the personality of Godhead. But the disciple must look upon the spiritual master as the manifested representation of Godhead. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as the Supersoul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. The initiating spiritual master is a personal manifestation of Srila Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas the instructing spiritual master is a personal representative of Srila Govinda Vigraha. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they are endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing them how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we could attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace one can cross the ocean of material suffering and attain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all of his lives. He opened our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic Prema emanates. By him nature is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Kiss the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the world. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagavati Sadma Jahara prasare bhai bhavatoriya Krishna prapti hoy jaha Jai 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 Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privrajagacharya Shtotarasata Shishimaj. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privrajagacharya Shtotarasata Shishimaj Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Jagaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudhi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Jamuna Devi, Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Sambeta Bhaktivinoda Ki. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. Gaur Premanande. Srimad Bhagavatam class in 2 minutes or less. Thank you. There's like two, right? Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janna Ballabha Jaya Giri Varadari Jaya Gopi Janna Ballabha Jaya Giri Varadari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Vraja Jana Ranjana Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Giri Varadari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Today we'll be reading from the Srimad Bhagatam. And it will be from the 3rd canto, 13th chapter, 49th verse. Tasmin prasanne sakala shisham prabhao. Kim durlabham tabir alam lavatmabhi. Ananya drishtya bhajatam guhashaya. Swayam vidate swagatim param. Tasmin prasanne sakala shisham prabhao. Kim durlabham tabir alam lavatmabhi. Ananya drishtya bhajatam guhashaya. Swayam vidate swagatim param. Dozo. Tasmin prasanne sakala shisham prabhao.
Indolabham Habiralam Lavatmabi.
Indolabham tabiralam lavatmabi.
Ananya Dristya Bhajatam Guhasaya.
Ananya drisya bhajatam guhashaya.
Swayam Vidhate Swagatim Paraparam.
Tasmin prasanne sakala shisham prabhao.
Tasmin prasanne sakala shisham prabhao.
Indurlabham tabiralam lavatmabhi.
Indurlabham tabiralam lavatmabhi.
Ananya drishtya bhajatam guhashaya.
Ananya drisya bhajatam guhashaya.
Swayam vidate swagatim paraparam.
Swayam vidate swagatim paraparam.
Tasmin prasanne sakala shisham prabho.
Tasmin prasanne sakala shisham prabho.
Kim durlabham tabiralam lavatmabhi.
Kim durlabham tabiralam lavatmabhi.
Ananya drishya bhajatam guhashaya.
Ananya drisya bhajatam guhashaya.
Swayam vidate swagatim paraparam.
Swayam vidate swagatim. Word for words. Tasmin. Unto him. Prasanne. Being pleased. Sakala ashisham. Of all benediction. Prabhao. Unto the Lord. Kim. What is that? Durlabham. Very difficult to obtain. Tabi. With them. Alam. Away. Lava atmapi. With insignificant gains. Ananya drishtya. By nothing but devotional service. Bhajatam. Of those who are engaged in devotional service. Guha ashaya. Residing within the heart. Swayam. Personally. Vidate. Executes. Swagatim. In his own abode. Para, the supreme. Param, transcendental. Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with someone. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. One who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfectional stage by the Lord Himself, who is seated in everyone's heart. Shall we say together? Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with someone. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. One who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfectional stage by the Lord Himself, who is seated in everyone's heart. Srila Prabhupada's purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 10:10, the Lord gives intelligence to the pure devotees so that they may be elevated to the highest perfectional stage. It is confirmed herein that a pure devotee who constantly engages in the loving service of the Lord is awarded all knowledge necessary to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For such a devotee, there is nothing valuable to be achieved but the Lord's service. If one serves faithfully, there is no possibility of frustration because the Lord Himself takes charge of the devotee's advancement. The Lord is seated in everyone's heart, and He knows the devotee's motive and arranges everything achievable. In other words, the pseudo-devotee who is anxious to achieve material gains cannot attain the highest perfectional stage because the Lord is in knowledge of his motive. One merely has to become sincere in his purpose, and then the Lord is there to help in every way. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Dina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadahmaya Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Sadvatutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhambitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Nilabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tata Kanchana Gaurani Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamani Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nitai Namineche Namirhate Sharamulyenam Tite Chere Nitai Namineche Namirhate Sharamulyenam Tite Chere Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with someone. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. One who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfectional stage by the Lord Himself, who is seated in everyone's heart. The perfection of knowledge is to understand that devotional service without any motive, devotional service to Krishna without any motive, is perfection of life. And there are many different paths of self-realization, but many of them include the sense that by my own power I'll come to understand Krishna. It's fortunate when someone comes to realization of being helpless. In the beginning, there must be education called Sambandha Gyan, because when I am unaware of my constitutional position as a servant of Krishna, and when I'm still dependent on what I think is my own power to understand Krishna, then Krishna may be difficult to understand. But devotees, by Krishna's grace, come to a decision in their lives when they only depend on Krishna and they accept Krishna as the supreme authority. Kaviraj Goswami says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when he's talking about our relationship with Krishna, specifically about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govindam, like Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, Sudanta Bolya Chittana Kara Alash, Iha Hoite Krishna Lagi Sudrid Manash. That's one should not be negligent to understand one's constitutional position and also Krishna's position. And one should also take help from the authorized scriptures and authorities on devotional service to understand what our relationship is and what are the specifics of Krishna's personality. When one has heard sufficiently about Krishna and about our relationship with Krishna, Prabhupada mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, there will be a loosening in our heart of, as he calls it, the long-cherished desire to dominate the material world. It is the ambition of someone enamored of the material world to want to be dominant. There's the false ego, which Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, is part of material nature. which is defined as a misunderstanding of one's actual identity. And part of that misunderstanding is to think that I'm acting independently from Krishna. And part of that understanding is that without my intelligence, I cannot be successful in life. One may come to a sense of frustration with the world, and if one's lucky, one can, in that frustration, be open-minded to hear from authorities. As Krishna says in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, there are some who come to a submissive attitude, and when they hear from the proper authority, then they become realigned with the mood that I'm not the supreme controller. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that there's a favorable mentality for making advancement in devotional service. He calls the person who has this favorable mentality a Stita Dhir Muni. The Stita Dhir Muni becomes satisfied with Krishna's conclusions. A regular Muni feels that he or she has to distinguish themselves from every other thinker and show that I know more than other people. If there's not a twist to my ideas that is different from everybody else's, what is the use of my intelligence? Because I haven't shown myself to be more clever than everyone else. This is the definition of a Muni. One who uses the intelligence to become distinguished in the circle of other thinkers. This is prevalent in academics. It's prevalent throughout the whole world. Whatever idea somebody has, other people are waiting till he stops talking so they can give a better idea. In fact, we may notice that when somebody's talking to us, we're only waiting for that pause. People hold their space and they hold their conversation by saying, and then you can't say anything, even if you want to. But one might be thinking that, where's the gap? Because as soon as they stop, then I'm going to fill in the real thing. And this sense of individuality in this world, that I have to prove myself, comes in various mindsets called fame, adoration, distinction. I would like to be famous for something. In the world of the imaginary self, the shadow self, the ahankar, the sense of my fame, that people consider me to be noteworthy. And therefore, there's an adoration, that people adore me. And then distinction. I'm distinguished amongst all. I'm the best. My idea was the best. My service was the best. Whatever it was the best. And these three mindsets are said to be based on the false ego. And they are also mentioned by our acharyas to be mindsets that are counterproductive to our relationship with Krishna. Because, as this verse points out, and as Prabhupada mentions in the purport, motive is everything. Now, although we try to measure motive. We listen for it. We sleep on it. When someone tells us something, we may go away wondering. We may discuss with our significant other, what do you think the motive was behind what they told us? And at night, we may wake up at 1:30 in the morning and say, aha, I know what their motive was. This is a subtle distinction, but Prabhupada's pointing out in this purport that motive is what moves us. Without motive, we don't go anywhere. In fact, motive is the very definition of the living force. Motive means you desire something, and that's what moves us to go across the room or to do anything at all. There are motives in the mode of ignorance, which to somebody in a higher mode of nature look like self-destruction. Then there are modes in the mode of passion, where one feels satisfied only when one does better than the other. For many years there was an idea of keeping up with the Joneses. This is an American saying. The Joneses means the people next door. People compare themselves to their neighbors, in other words. And if they put in a new lawn, then I have to put in a new lawn. Because after all, my house next to their house, how does it appear? It looks like I'm not ahead of them. And in the world of finance, people may have enough money, but if it's not as much as other people, they don't feel satisfied. Because it's the passionate idea that I have to be more distinguished than others. Sometimes professional athletes will be given a payment of hundreds of millions of dollars to run around and bump into people. But because it was a little bit less than somebody else got somewhere else, they don't feel satisfied. They stew about it, and they're restless. It keeps them up at night. They didn't make enough to show that they were better than the other. In the mode of passion, in the mode of goodness, there's more of a sense of being satisfied, but it can't last because the modes are always fighting for supremacy. And therefore, devotional service is a subtle purification of one's motive. The motive has to be purified. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmanyanavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. Rupa Goswami says, in order to tread this path of pure devotional service, one's motive has to be pure. This idea of purity is also parallel with the idea of sincerity. And Krishna talks about this in several places in the Bhagavad Gita when he uses the word ananya. And he says, ananya chintayantumam. When you can examine your own consciousness. He doesn't say that part. I'm giving context to it. When one examines one's own consciousness and notices that ananyas, that I don't want anything else but Krishna, and I'm serving. My motive is to serve Krishna, but I don't want fame, adoration, and distinction for it. I'm not doing it for a passionate reason. I'm doing it strictly because I want to please Krishna. other philosophers have noticed the power of one's intention and one's motive. Immanuel Kant has also talked about ethics in relationship to one's intention. If one tells the truth, but it's only for one's benefit, not for the duty of telling the truth, he says, this has still not reached the level of being purely ethical. Only when one, in his conception, does one's duty, tells the truth, or dutifully does anything without consideration of one's own self-aggrandizement or profiting from the situation, has one actually done something that is laudable and with pure motive. And Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, in this verse, Ananyas chintayantamam ye jana paripasate. Tesham nityabdiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Krishna is so aware of our motive that when... Is that Ananda Tirtha Maharaj? Hare Krishna. Please everyone stand up. Hare Krishna. Welcome back, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Just goes to show, if you try to talk about pure intention, then sadhus start showing up because they like to hear that. Welcome back. It's so nice to have you here. It's a wonderful surprise. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Not at all, on the contrary. Ananya means there's nothing else. No other purpose for my service. And Krishna is the witness of our intentions. As mentioned by Gajendra, Krishna is waiting for us to not just turn our attention towards him, but also to display this intention that I only want you. And in the Bhagavad Gita, as Prabhupada is quoted in the purport, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. When one's method of worshiping Krishna is fueled by this sense of priti, that Krishna, I only want you, you're the only thing, there is nothing else. And I'm only satisfied when I see your satisfaction. Then Krishna reciprocates in kind with such a devotee. Dadami buddhi. He says that I give more intelligence how one can come to me. So this is the fulcrum of all power in one's practice of devotional service. It's the purification of motive. And it can begin with reading this verse and being aware that Krishna is aware of my motive. Prabhupada mentions in Bhagavad Gita 3:31 that one may become aware of one's sincerity. That is, I only want Krishna. and I only want to do devotional service, or rather pure devotional service, but one may not be able to do it. Prabhupada says that this is not a hindrance, because in the beginning, although one has a pure motive, one may not be able to yet do all that one wants to do because of the momentum of one's life. But when that seed of sincere desire is there within the heart, Krishna, dadami buddhi yogam tam, he'll give flashes of intelligence, or sometimes a steady flow of intelligence, to show us how to extricate ourselves from the complexities of the material world, which are caused by our own distractions from thinking of Krishna. Elsewhere in the Gita, when Krishna's advising Arjuna about how to prepare for the end of life, he has already said in the chapter that one should practice thinking of him. And he says when one comes to a pure motive in one's practice, ananya cheta satatam yomam smarati nityashaha chasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yoginaha. That what is a very rare thing, ananya cheta satatam, but when one's cheta, one's consciousness, is ananya, that one has this mood that everything is for Krishna. Yomam smarati nityashaha, then it becomes very easy to remember Krishna. And Krishna says, although he's very hard to attain, and it's very rare that one would even endeavor for achieving Krishna. In the previous chapter, Krishna says, Bahunam janmanamante gyanavam mam prapadyate. No, he says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kashchid yatati siddhaye yatatam apisiddhanam kashtim mambeti tatfataha. It's rare for even the siddhas to come to this point of only wanting Krishna and nothing else. That's also in the Bhagavatam. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana. Amongst all the muktas, and the Bhagavatam catalogs them in the tens of thousands and millions. There are millions of siddhas. Many of them are not interested in the material world at all. And they've achieved a certain kind of siddha. But Krishna then narrows it to the most perfected souls. Ananya cheta satatam yomam smarati nityashaha. Those are the ones that exclusively think of me and only want me and have no motive other than pleasing me in their devotional service. For such persons, even though inept in every other way, such persons will advance in devotional service by Krishna's mercy. That's necessary to advance. One cannot, by one's own power, conquer Krishna or advance in devotional service. Brahma, as we already discussed recently, had this experience of thinking Krishna was, as the coward boy, was something fantastical. And he thought, maybe I'll steal away his cows, boys, and calves. And he might start crying to try to get him back. And then I'll help him out. But he ended up seeing that Krishna had expanded himself without any strain into these Narayan forms that were perfectly perfect duplications of the ones he had stolen. And then he came to this sense of submission to Krishna. And he gives this advice. Atapite deva patambuja dvaya prasada leshanugrahita eva hi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno nachanya eko picharam bachimban. His awareness, although he's so capable, and this can be a hindrance if one's too intelligent. Oftentimes, those who are intelligent get in their own way because they think, I'll figure this out. I've figured everything else out. So why not this? But Brahma says, it's not possible to figure out Krishna unless you get a trace of his mercy. And one can't, or I should say in the positive, one can achieve that mercy by simply agreeing to be Krishna's submissive follower. That's the mood of the verse I quoted earlier in 331 from the Bhagavad Gita. Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manava. If one just believes that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's it. His representative, my spiritual master, is speaking on behalf, that's it. One becomes a Stiti Dhir Muni. I don't need to invent something. I don't need to bring in any extra understanding. I simply follow ekagra, one-mindedly. Tasmat ekena manasa bhagavan sattvatam pati shrotavya kirtitavyascha dhyaya pujascha nityada. What is that? I bow down to Krishna because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I hear chant and remember that I have no other interest. And when Krishna perceives the sincerity of any soul, and that sincerity can be, we can bring forth that sincerity at any time. We just have to go on an expedition to find it, because oftentimes it gets lost. In our condition of being embodied, we may have a lingering sense of, yes, but. Okay, Krishna's my protector, but. When Draupadi was in the clutches of the heathen barbarians who were manhandling her in front of everybody, the most abominable of scenes, and how must she have felt at that time? Of course, she, for a moment, thought she would clutch her sari to save her dignity. But when she threw her hands into the air and said, "Hey Govinda," Krishna's response was immediate. And then he said, "I'm forever indebted to her." Krishna said, "I'm forever indebted to her." That she called my name in helplessness and said, "Hey Govinda." She called for me. And Krishna is equally available to everyone when one goes on a search for one's sincerity and decides that nothing can save me, no one can save me, no circumstance in this world will protect me. Shukadeva had said earlier to give us that foundational understanding, Deha Patra Kalatradish Atmasaini Satsapi Tesham Pramatam Nidhanam Pashyanapina Pashyati. Said, be aware, please, listeners, that there's nobody in this world that can save you except for Krishna. And Prabhupada writes in his purport to Sarvadharman Prityaja, Mam ekam sharanam braja ahantwang sarva papibhyo mokshishami masuja. a verse that Jiva Goswami says, every Vaishnava remembers constantly. They never forget this promise Krishna made. And the devotees are so grateful to Krishna for offering this. And what Krishna is saying is that if you find your sincerity and you offer it to Krishna, and you say, Krishna, I'm yours, and I will surrender to you and only depend upon you, then Krishna is already there. As Gajendra, I mentioned, said, he's there waiting. It's not that he becomes bored. He's always interested in us. He's always aware of us, and what he's mostly aware of, as we found out in this verse today, is our motive. That's the most secret thing within the heart. This Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Raja Vidya Raja Kuhyam. It's secret. Why is it secret? Because someone may read it and think, well, I'll make a new commentary and then I'll become Krishna. Or, who is this person? Prabhupada mentions, some people say, how audacious of him to say surrender to me. And there are scholars who are expert in dissecting the verses, but they have no intention of surrendering to Krishna. Therefore, when they write about Krishna or they give commentary in the Bhagavad Gita, their commentaries are meaningless. What to speak of misleading? And so, the relationship we have with Krishna can be immediately realized when we find in ourselves our motive. And even if it's very difficult to bring forth, if we find even a scintilla, is that small enough? Scintilla? I don't know if a scintilla is smaller than a molecule, but there are different types of terms. One's about a specific element or entity. Scintilla means something very tiny. If we can find that, that's what's important. And so this verse is a reminder that if we're able to find that sincerity and offer to Krishna, and come what may, offer ourselves in service, tattenu kampam susimikshamano, knowing that I'm in Krishna's hands, whatever happens, because I'm a surrendered soul to Krishna. Everything that happens to me is for my purification. And as pointed out in the story of Vrikasura, that crazy, wild demon that Lord Shiva tricked into touching his own head, which burst into many pieces. In the commentaries, in that section of the Bhagatam, it is said that when ordinary people who are not surrendered to Krishna undergo happiness and distress because of their previous karma, in the experiencing of these events, happy or distressful, they're left with seeds of karma for more happiness and distress in the material world. But when one is under Krishna's protection because of one's surrendering to him and accepting whatever comes as Krishna's mercy, then whenever there's happiness or distress imposed by Krishna for a specific reason, which is to eliminate the last vestiges of desire we have for attachment in the material world, then there's no such seed of having to suffer and enjoy. That event is tactical by Krishna. And it doesn't leave any obligation of karma to suffer and enjoy in the material world. Krishna is so expert. So putting ourselves in Krishna's hands as the most expert surgeon who can see whatever semblance of material desires is still left over in our hearts. Even as we produce our sincerity, we're able to find it somewhere and maybe put it in our hand, if you can see it. There still may be the residuals of material desire within the heart, which are based on an idea that I want to enjoy separately from Krishna, or even protect myself or maintain myself independently of Krishna. Whatever it may be, and there are descriptions of anartas given in Chaitanya Charitamrita and elsewhere as being seeds of material desire. Krishna will help if we express our sincerity. Part of the sincerity is the willingness to accept Krishna's help and accept it when it comes. Tatenu kampam susamikshamano, that, that's Krishna's mercy. He's helping to remove the last vestiges of desire so I can have only my sincerity. Ananyas chintayantamam, nothing else, just that. Anyabhilashita shunyam, I'm free from any other process except for surrendering to Krishna. I'm not depending on my own intelligence or any other arrangement, only Krishna's mercy. And from that, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, apichet sudaracharo bhajate mamananya bhak sadhureva samantavya samyag vyavasito hisaha. That the devotee is the one who has this sincerity of purpose. The motive is to serve Krishna, but because of the treacherous nature of the material world, it's very unsafe here. Even the best places in the world, they're 95% safe. What about the 5%? It could come at any time, the danger of the material world. Krishna says, such a person who has this motive to surrender to me, and they're offering it to me, that Krishna, I have this, even though I can't do it. Krishna says, you have to consider this person saintly. And why? Shri Pram Bhavati Dharmatma Shashvash Chantim Nagashati Konteya Prachidani Hina Me Bhakti Pranashiti. Krishna then says to Arjuna, you say this out loud. Anyone who has a sincere desire to surrender to me, that's their motive. Even if they seem like the most unlikely person in the world. Because that guy? Who let him in? And besides that, think of what he's done. Krishna says, I don't care. Because if the motive is there within the heart and he knows it, then Shri Pram Bhavati Dharma. Very quickly, he said, one will come to complete purity. And Prabhupada poses the question in his purport that how can that be? That person who's made offenses or fallen down, even in the cases where they purposely fell down, because there's accidental fall down, and everyone wants to know, what's the difference? Prabhupada said, the difference is if they come back, it was accidental. And then he says, for a person in the case of the person who's sincere, but is being trounced by the material nature, by one's own mind, by the last vestiges, and they're not even vestiges, they're still raging somehow within, but somehow in the storm of those malintentions, I've found my own sincerity that I really do want to surrender to Krishna. Krishna says that person's a sadhu. That's what the sadhu is. And he says, then very quickly they'll become purified, because that scintilla, you better look it up. I don't know how big a scintilla is. The scintilla of faith in Krishna and one's sincerity to take shelter of Krishna as one's purpose in life. No other purpose. That's what I want. If you can get a scintilla of that. That one molecule, sorry, I can't think of anything small, or atom of sincerity is so powerful, as I heard someone mention once, that if you split an atom, what kind of power is inside? Nobody can estimate the power of sincerity. And nobody could take it away from us either, because that's ours eternally. And that's our only asset. One can have wealth like Duryodhana had, offered a better option for lunch to Krishna when he was on his way to see Vidura. And Krishna wasn't interested at all. But he went to Vidura's house and just took a simple meal. Wasn't even organized very well. But he likes that. In fact, everybody likes it. If you can find sincerity in someone, Prita Maharaj says, if that's what's in somebody's heart and they speak about Krishna, you'll be radiated by that. And you'll walk away and say, what happened? Even if the person wasn't a great speaker, didn't know Sanskrit, didn't come up with a bunch of ideas that no one ever thought of. They just gave some simple presentation. Because that power comes from that atom of sincerity. Prita Maharaj says it's palpable. You can feel it. That it gives the poetical sense that the words of such a person touch Krishna's lotus feet. They touch his heart too, but here he says it touches lotus feet. And on his lotus feet, those who are pujaris know that you put some chandan on Krishna's feet. It has saffron, one of the most subtle of all the spices in the world. A little sandalwood, some rose water, and you grind it up, a little camphor, put it on Krishna's lotus feet, so that when the person with sincerity speaks, that touches Krishna's lotus feet, and it mixes with that sandalwood paste. So then when it comes out to the audience, then what is that sound? It's combined with what Prabhupada calls saffron mercy particles. Now, if you can get some saffron mercy particles, then your heart can change. But it's not based on one's scholarship. It's not based on eloquence or ability to be a good orator. What's a scintilla? We're going to find out once and for all. Maybe we're not going to find out today.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Scintilla is from the 1690s, and it means a spark or a glimmer, and it comes from figurative use of Latin scintilla, which means particle of fire, spark, glittering speck, or atom.
Or an atom. What do you think? Small enough? And spark kind of goes with the idea of fanning the spark. So then Krishna says, Shri Prambhavati Dharmatma. Then very quickly, one will become purified. Despite any other anomalies, errant desires, that sincerity will overcome everything. And Krishna will also assist us in fanning that spark. Satyam dishiti artitam artito nirnam naivartito yad punar artito yata soyam vidate bhajatam anichitam ichapi danam nijapada palavam. Krishna says that when he notices that somebody's sincere and they still may have an admixture of crazy desires, I need a new Mustang. I mean, nothing wrong with Mustangs, but I'm just saying one might make a declaration that I want this, I want that. Krishna, please give me this, please give me that. And Krishna says, okay, you're still a little punch drunk from the material world, so I'm going to help you out here. It's like somebody who's drunk and said, give me the car keys. Like, come on, let's have a sandwich. Come with me, take the keys and lead him along. Come on, fella, sit down here. And the living entity's still a little punch drunk from the material world, even though a devotee at heart. Krishna says, come here, little fella, tell you what I'm going to do for you. I'll give you the car keys, but first, you got to walk it off. So Krishna says in this verse that I'll fulfill your desires, but I'll do it in such a clever way that you won't want them anymore. And that you'll come to this point of ananyas chintayanta mam. So we're so lucky that this is our standard. And it's also a great relief because when you become a Stita Dhirmuni, you don't have to think up anything. There's nothing to conjure in your mind for fame, adoration, and distinction. You just repeat what your spiritual master gave you, sadhu, shastra, and sadhu. Sadhu, shastra, guru. And follow that. And Prabhupada proclaimed that that was my power in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement. I had that sincerity of purpose to follow the order of my spiritual master. And therefore I was successful. Otherwise he said I have no qualification whatsoever, nor did he have any assets. So this is the most powerful atom in the world. There are a lot of atoms. I mean, the body's made up of atoms, but it doesn't amount to much except for a heap of bones. But if there's one atom in the heart of sincerity, that I want to do this to please Krishna, to please the devotees, and that's your motive, the power from that one atom will pervade the whole of your body and mind, and also you'll exude that same specialty that only comes by following in the footsteps of the great acharyas, which is Ananya Bhakti, the pure sense, I only want to please Krishna. Om Tat Sat. And now we'll take a few reflections or questions. Anything? Yes. 1, 2.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I think one of your most beautiful lectures, thank you so much. It pierced my heart, especially when we speak about motive, because it drives our, it's the inner reason which drives our bhakti, and we only know what's our inner reason. And also during your japa sessions, you used to always mention that let's have a sankalpa before we start our japa, or let's have a sankalpa, take a sankalpa before we do any service. This is a small pastime I heard from His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu in one of his lectures. He mentioned this term called Padma Niti, which is given by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Padma was the mother of Kamsa, and Ugrasen was his father. And when after Krishna killed Kamsa, Krishna was living in Dwarka with Padma and Ugrasen. And Krishna was lamenting, and he was very forlorn to go to Vrindavan for Rajvasis. He was crying every day. And then Padma, she looked at this and she got very insecure, and she was like, maybe Krishna will return back to the Rajvasis, and he'll not be here to help us conquer all the other kingdoms and defeat all the kings. So she said to Krishna, which is very heartbreaking, she said, for each morsel that Nand Maharaj has given Krishna, it'll be traded, we can trade each morsel by double the amount of money. And she said that, and when Prabhu was mentioning, he also had tears in his eyes, and this is my own reflection that we cannot, like you said, fame, adoration, adulation, we cannot buy devotional service, pure devotional service. We cannot buy a connection to bhakti through all these means. It is only surrender, pure surrender. So I really wanted to bring this back.
Thank you very much. Okay. 1, 2, Shraddha.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the wonderful class. 2 things. One is, when it comes to sincerity, you always tell us that night story about how the word comes from sand.
It's that is what is called false etymology. The story about the wax and the marble is it's apocryphal, which means that it's somebody made it up.
Is that?
It's not the true origin of the word, according to all the dictionaries I've gone through, to find out if that was, because it kind of ruins things if it's pseudo etymology. And anyway,
thank you for.
Anyway, it could be useful, so I'll mention what it is. The fake story about the words sincere means sincere means without wax, and how people have extended this metaphor is that there's a way in which marble became very popular at one point, and mining it became a source of making great wealth, and much of the marble the inferior marble had cracks in it. You couldn't get as much for it, so merchants would put, and this is not inconceivable, put wax of the same color as the marble in it to erase the cracks in it, and then would sell it as high-grade marble. But then when the warm weather would come, it would melt and come out. And so this idea of sincere means you don't have to put wax in there, because when you're straightforward and you're just admit who you are and what level you're at, then that's good enough. In fact, Krishna likes it. As he says, Ye sway adhikariya nishta saguna parikirtita. That when you act according to your level and you don't try to do more or less, then he said that's a good quality. He said, I like that. Sorry, go ahead, do the rest.
No, thank you so much for the clarification. And the second thing was, thank you for the reminder of the fame, adoration, and distinction, the 3 things that we are always running after. And I was just doing an acronym of that, and it becomes FAD, F-A-D.
F-A-T, fad.
Fad, yeah. And I looked up the meaning of fad, what it means. And then, so it says it's a intense and wisely shared enthusiasm for something, and fame, adoration, distinction.
Oh, fad, F-A-D, yeah.
Yeah, and it's especially one that is short-lived and without basis in the object's quality. It's actually a craze. And I was just thinking, yes, we are so crazy for the 3 things there.
Nicely done, Haribol. Okay, there's one here, and then we're going back to Kanka. Sharing means caring.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I also share the same reflection that Mataji was sharing, that this is also one of the best classes because of the timing. Because today morning I was reading a quote from my Guru Maharaj which said, fulfillment comes from reciprocation of Krishna being pleased. And I was thinking such a beautiful quote. And I was thinking, would be nice if we have a reference to it. And today you spoke about the verse, which in essence is this, so I like that. I have a question regarding Sthitadir Muni and regular Muni. So you mentioned a regular Muni is interested in presenting philosophy with distinction. So he wants his own name. How do we present Krishna consciousness based on our own realization and based on the level of the audience in such a way that they are able to understand, but at the same time, we are not looking for distinction or adoration in our own presentation.
Prabhupada mentions in the first canto, fourth chapter of the Bhagavatam, first purport, that when you depend on the previous acharyas to make your presentation, and as in his own language, he said, you don't try to screw out any new meaning from it, but you also adjust it in language that will be appreciated by the present audience. He said, this is called realization. And that takes a lot of work. Just see Vyasadeva, who is feeling incomplete because he wasn't able to present as straightforwardly as his guru would want him to. He'd written all the Vedas, Puranas, or edited them, made them available. But then he was morose. His guru said, no. Didn't quite make it. Be more direct. And we can also, just as we check our shoes at the door, when we come in any circumstance, when you want to speak, check your ego. There's a little rack outside too for that. In fact, we could put one up. Just have one outside, and when you come in, it's like, okay, shoes off, ego off, put it in the rack. Then come in. And of course, you want to be conscientious how to present so that people get it. But at the same time, be dependent, feel dependent. That's why we say these prayers ahead of time. It's to leave our ego out and say, I'm simply speaking on behalf of all these great acharyas. And Prabhupada mentions in a purport in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he said, always remember where you came from. Don't ever feel entitled and come to a position where, of course I know, everybody knows I know. And once you reach that level, then you've lost that saffron mercy particle empowerment. But if you internally prepare yourself and speak what you heard, what you understood by pure listening, and try to sincerely present it and give credit where credit is due. Interestingly, Braja Bihari Prabhu, expert in communications and conflict resolution, once told me, you never lose credit by giving credit where credit is due. And that's something you'll notice that all acharyas do. Before they write anything, speak anything, they'll say, it's not me, it's my guru, and the Guru Parampara. And we really have to stay in that mode, and it's not just lip service, but when we live like that and we feel like that, contrary to what our false ego says, which is, come on, how are you going to make it in the world if you don't distinguish yourself? The Stita Dhir Muni knows that I'm just part and parcel of Krishna, and if I speak on behalf of Krishna and my Guru Maharaj, although he doesn't want it, the distinction comes anyway. In fact, Madhavendra Puri realized that when Gopinath had stolen some kheer for him, and the pujari said, hey, if anybody's named Madhavendra Puri, you better get over here because the Lord just thought of you personally and saved this for you. And he took it gratefully, but then he decamped as soon as possible because he didn't want that wave of fame to come at him. So devotees are always aware of the fact that they're trying to avoid it, and not in an awkward way in which they don't know how to accept something. You accept something, but then you offer it up to your spiritual master. And that's one of the ways that one has to be a conduit. You pass it up. You don't reject it, but you take it and give it to Krishna. Okay, we'll go to Kanka, and then we'll come back to Yogadesh.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, thank you for the class. It was really wonderful. But I really appreciated you saying how Srila Prabhupada would always talk about, I I'm only repeating what my Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, has told me, has taught me. And also the story of the Brahma story was so significant because Lord Brahma was trying to test Krishna, and I know that was the last story that Prabhupada was translating when he was passing.
Thank you, Kanka. Deeply appreciate it, and thank you for being here and for walking the earth. Okay, Yogadish.
Hare Krishna. In service, devotees might try to be innovative with a sincere attitude. It could be on books, it could be trying a new tune, with the right attitude of trying to please Krishna. But the reality is sincerity and motivation can flicker. It might start good, but it might waver with time, and it might come back to its flickering. So when one is in, how do you recognize when your sincerity, when you're in a state when your sincerity is less sincere? And then what's the best corrective action you can take?
It's helpful to get a bump on the head. I was once, when I was staying at the ashram in Govardhan, I had a vow for Kartik to be on time to Mangal Artik every day. And one day, one thing, you know how the soap slips out of the dish, and then the next thing happens, and I realized I was getting late. So I ran up the stairs as fast as I could, and there's this archway, and I was heading into Mangal Artik, and I could just tell they were about to blow the conch. And as I ran through the archway, I hit my head on the thing and I went flying backwards. And in that moment I thought, thank you, Krishna. I needed that. It knocked some sense into me. And I thought, yeah. And we need that. It's very helpful to be open to correction. In fact, I heard this interview with this author, and he was saying something to the interviewer, and the interviewer interrupted him and said, oh no, maybe we can't say that on public radio. It was something about political correctness. And then he could have fought back and said, what are you talking about, you know, this, that. But then he said, yes, I live to be corrected. And I pulled over the car. I said, I'm writing that down. I didn't get the tattoo yet, but... And if we're in that mode of living to be corrected, which is, devotees are always checking themselves. It's not that they just assume I'm doing everything right. But we're checking to see, by the mercy of the previous acharyas. And so it's helpful to have godbrothers and any other superiors, guru, that can chastise you and give you a good bump on the head. I've been blessed to have peers who felt free to level chastisement. I have also, it's helpful to be a grihasta, because in relationship between husband and wife, you know, you're so close that the wife can say, or the husband can say, that, yeah, no. And we should be open to that. One who lives to be corrected and is open for the false ego to be hit with that hit on the head like I got. By the way, I did make it a Mangal Artik, even though I had a gash on my head. You know, we need that because it's so pervasive and sticky, the false ego that always wants to get back in. It's like, I'm humble, I'm humble, I'm humble. I'm the most humble. Nobody's more humble than me. And Prabhupada was expert at, somebody said that I'm the most fallen. Prabhupada said, you're not the most anything. The utsahan mayi, the youthful enthusiasm that, oh yeah, I got this. And if you're in the ashram, like Mahamuni was sick and he groaned. He was sleeping on the floor in the brahmachari ashram. He had a fever, and one of the new brahmacharis who had learned all about devotional service said to this senior devotee, he said, Prabhu, you're not your body. And he got up on his elbow with all his strength, and he said, "Prabhu, you're not my body either." So we need that devotee sangha. It doesn't just mean fun and games, but we also want to get correction, course correction constantly. That's important. Okay, there was just Shankari Kaur.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my most respectful obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. My pranams to Guru Ma also and all the Vaishnavas who are assembled here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Such a beautiful class, Guru Maharaj. I could not help myself but come and join on Zoom. I was listening on YouTube. 2 classes back to back, last Saturday and this Saturday. And Guru Maharaj, just wanted to share a realization that we were talking about dependence on Krishna, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, he says that our real independence comes from complete dependence on Krishna. And that is so true, because when we depend on Krishna, we actually situate ourselves in our constitutional position, which is freeing ourselves from our false ego. And nothing can be more liberating than that. And nothing can actually take us to the better independence than that. If we are able to get to that point, then yes, we are liberated, we are independent. And so it was just reflecting on that point, Guru Maharaj. And then we were also talking about sincerity this evening. Guru Maharaj, I think your sincerity brings us back to where we need to be. You set the gold standard for all of us, Guru Maharaj. So thank you so much for reminding us as to what we need to do, how to stay put on our path, and how to be completely surrendered to Krishna at every step we take. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. I draw a lot of strength from your classes, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shankari Kaur. I just say, in regards to sincerity, there's a phrase, running scared. It's helpful to have this sense, I'm running scared, meaning someone says, oh, you've achieved this, you've achieved that. And devotees generally will slough that off as quickly as possible and say, what I'm doing is running scared. Prahlad Maharaj said, Trastosmaham kripanavatsaladusahogra samsara chakra karanad basatam grahita kadgambra griya yadavocharadhad ditsus Twamishvaro maraparo patumam karami. That there's a way in which, when there was all this fear around the appearance of the avatar of Lord Nrsingadev, and they were so afraid that they pushed Prahlad forward and said, you try to pacify him. Everyone's afraid of Lord Nrsingadev. And he said, I'm not afraid of you, my Lord. But what I'm afraid of is your Vishnu Maya, that at any time that false ego can come back and I can be pulled back down into the mix. So it's not that we come to a particular stage and then it's over, but as Prabhupada says, we should think, I'm the servant, 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 servant 1,000,000 times removed. He said that is liberation. And there's never a point at which we should think that I'm liberated. I'm free from the influence of Maya, therefore I can make an exception. So in that very moment when one thinks I can take liberties because I'm liberated, that's the time in which the false ego comes back in. And we should run scared until the last breath and depend on Krishna in that way. And I'd just like to say something about Ananda Tirtha Maharaj, who's come here as a messenger of Vishnu, because when an unexpected guest comes, that's the appearance of the Lord himself. He's one of the great pioneers of Western outreach, and in San Diego and elsewhere, but that's where he first established himself as temple president, or he was given the post of temple president, but he started a mode of teaching there in which he helped to translate the intricate philosophy of Krishna consciousness in such a way that it would be accessible to the people, the local people there, from Pacific Beach, Ocean Beach. PB, Pacific Beach, which is a different language than other people speak all over the world. It's the language of the party town. And he was able to bridge that, and also he was the brains behind the Shastradhana. He had come up with a system by which he would invite devotees to give money, who wanted to see book distribution go on, but they weren't able to go out themselves. And then he would hold programs for them to appreciate them, and they became his faithful supporters. And then he and his team would go out and place these books in many institutions where they would be taken by other people, and in that way he expanded book distribution. And this way he's become a great pioneer in the Krishna conscious movement. Proud to say he was here for some time around the Bay Area, and for whatever reason he came back. Thank you. I hope you're staying. And now we have the main part of our program today, which is we have a very short talk by one of the very fortunate youth who has prepared something for us today. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please empower us to daily and moment to moment find our own sincerity and offer us ourselves in surrender in the mood of Sarva Dharman Parityaja. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone who agrees with this prayer, in whole or in part, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Kripa Sindhudevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nantakoti Vaishnavini Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Haribo.
His Grace Vaisesika Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Jai. Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for a very deep class this morning. Thank you for giving us such nectar. Just still digesting whatever I've been hearing this morning. So thank you so much. Today we have a presentation continuing on the series of the story of Dhruva Maharaj, based off of the book Dhruva by His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. And we've reached the 14th chapter of this book. Today Arshia will be presenting the part where Dhruva Maharaj is meeting Swayambhuva Manu. So I'll let Arshia start her presentation. Arshia.
Hello? Okay. Hare Krishna, as Mataji mentioned, my name is Urshia, and today I will be presenting on chapter 14 of Dhruva by His Grace Gauranga Darshan Das, showing how timely guidance can really help individuals. To set the scene, Dhruva, devastated by his brother's death, is blinded by grief and rage. He sets out to kill the entire race of yakshas. His grief and anger push him to the edge, showing how even great souls can be overwhelmed by emotions. At this crucial moment, his grandfather Swayambhuva Manu shows up with many other great sages. Their presence alone is enough to stop Dhruva. This shows how the presence of wise elders can calm people even without them speaking. Swayambhuva Manu doesn't just stop Dhruva, he guides him with compassion and wisdom. Manu explains that the more influential a person is, the more their actions affect others. He explains how Dhruva is a leader for many people and he should act with a calm mind and he should act in peace and not in anger and inflict hurt on other people. He encourages Dhruva to choose a path of peace over aggression, reminding him that the responsibility of a leader is to maintain peace. Manu stresses that mature people must speak philosophy to show the relevance of their context, so their words truly reach the heart. This is a reminder that guidance isn't just about rules, it is about compassion and empathy. Manu's talk highlights a universal truth. Everyone, no matter how great they are, needs guidance once in a while. He says, when one forgets one's duty, it is the duty of their well-wishers to remind them. This shows how friends and family around someone should help and guide people when they fall off their path. Manu also teaches that happiness and distress are the results of their own past actions, showing that we shouldn't just react to the immediate situation, but should see behind the event itself. This helps us develop maturity and control. Swayambhuva Manu says, "My dear grandson, please stop. This anger does not suit you. It'll drag you to hell. You are overstepping all boundaries by killing even the yakshas who have committed no offense." This verse from the Bhagatam shows how Manu urges Dhruva to stop killing the yakshas due to one yaksha's mistake. He talks about how uncontrolled anger will only lead to suffering. He points out that Dhruva is punishing those who haven't even done anything for the mistakes of one yaksha, which is not the way of a true leader. This moment of timely correction helps Dhruva regain his composure and make a better choice. In this chapter, Manu shares many pearls of wisdom for Dhruva that remain relevant for all of us. He begins by reminding Dhruva that ignoring the advice and opinion of a wise person is like turning away from a clear path to perfection, especially in emotional moments. Manu explains that correction and punishment should uplift others and not simply serve as an outlet for anger. He uses the analogy that it shouldn't be an arrow that wounds, but an injection that heals. While emotional outbursts are natural for even great souls like Dhruva Maharaj, they should also show self-awareness and restraint. He stresses the relevance as this is important. He stresses the relevance as this makes it far more impactful. Manu urges us to help others rather than push them down. He tells Dhruva that to avoid actions that escalate conflict. He reminds us to be dutiful and gently help others. Finally, Manu distinguishes between the violence-driven selfishness and necessary action done to restore peace. Together, these pearls of wisdom transform Dhruva's crisis into an opportunity for growth. It reminds us how timely, compassionate guidance can help us in need of it. Thank you for listening, and does anyone have any questions?
Nothing. There it is. It was a tight presentation. In a short amount of time, you gave us enough to last a lifetime. So many lessons. And I was wondering, in your compilation of all of these, if any of them stuck to you particularly. Any of them that came into your mind and you thought about them and you thought, maybe I can apply this in my life. What stood out to you the most in making the presentation?
I feel like it was like following the wisdom of elders, because as a child, I tend to not listen to people who are older than me, and I tend to be like, oh, I am better than them, I know more, you know? And so I think that stuck out to me because this showed how it's really helpful to listen to the guidance of others, even if there aren't elders, but just others in general.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to add that you're a natural presenter. You're very articulate and you have a lot of confidence. And I think that it'll go a long way, your presence and your teachings to others. So please keep doing this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, that was wonderful. One of the points that Swayambhuva Manu made to Dhruva, I thought that was really important, how important it is for a leader to try to establish peace and to give knowledge, and how Dhruva, he was trying to influence Dhruva in that way. And you quoted that it would exactly touch the heart. I really liked that part.
Thank you, Mataji.
Shraddha Mataji.
Thank you so much. We were talking about the word scintillations in the morning, and I would say that your presentation was scintillating with all the gems that were inside it. And two things that stuck my mind was when you said that I had read this story in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but the way you presented it, bringing out some of the nuances, was just amazing. And two things that stuck my mind was, one, you said that the duty of a leader is to maintain peace, and I was just thinking about our political leaders these days. And the second thing, which I take it as for myself, is that not an arrow that wounds, but an injection that heals. And I was thinking about the way I speak, I should be mindful of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Anyone has any other reflections or questions? Okay. Thank you. And that was Arshia. She is actually the younger sister of Rivan, those who don't know. And Rivan has been a wonderful student also from our Sunday school, and now she's also doing excellent, imbibing all the learnings that we have from our Krishna conscious books. And I'm very grateful to her family. They are constantly assisting in decorating Prabhupada's altar for all the festivals now. As a family, she comes in and helping with the flower decorations. So thank you, Arshia, for all that you do. And thank you for a wonderful presentation this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Risheshwar Leela, for bringing us these presentations and for uplifting the whole community through your educational infrastructure that you've built here. It's really forming the character of the whole organization. Thank you. Hare Krishna. And now we have a couple of quick announcements. First, we have from Bhakti Community.
Hare Krishna. I have a quiz today. Few questions for you all. You all have been hearing about Bhakti Community. How do you come to know which programs are happening when? Please raise your hand. Which programs are happening when on Bhakti Community? How do you know about that? Mike.
Going to the Bhakti Community website.
What's the website?
bhakticommunity.com.
Okay, and what happens there? When you go to the website, what happens?
You can sign up, you can know about the programs and know about what Bhakti Community is and what's happening.
Okay, great, thank you. So please sign up, bhakticommunity.com, and you will get email notifications on what programs are happening. What's another way to know about what programs are happening other than email? Yeah? WhatsApp? What WhatsApp? What in WhatsApp? Where do you go? There's a WhatsApp channel which you can actually enroll to, and then you will get all the notifications for all programs. Okay, one more question, actually two more. What locations do we do Mantra Zone program, which is an in-person program? What are at least 4 locations that you can talk about? Yes. Palo Alto, San Jose, and Menlo Park.
Palo Alto, San Jose, Menlo Park.
Your house.
And one more. Los Altos. So Palo Alto, my home, talk to me. Menlo Park, Tulsi Bhakti, talk to her. Los Altos, Shipra Mataji, she's not here, but whenever she's here, talk to her. And San Jose, Yashoda Kripa and Mantra Siddhi. Please talk to them. One more question. What happens on the Thursday Bhakti Circle program? Who knows about it? Yes, Anupam.
You watch a video and then go into breakout rooms to discuss it with a leader.
Okay, yeah. So it's a program where we show a video and then we have breakout rooms where people who have joined discuss the video and they discuss it for 45 minutes. So it's a good discussion and they make a lot of friendships, lot of friends. And when they come to the temple, they know everybody in the temple. So they are not an alien here when they come. So that's the advantage of bringing newcomers to that program. One person joined yesterday's Mantra Zone. So there's an Iranian girl who has been coming to the Mantra Zone, and she brought another lady last 2 times. And this lady who came yesterday, I forget her name. Her name is Manije Khazen. And she told us, and Maharaj was leading the Mantra Zone yesterday. He did a very nice kirtan. And she told us that when she's 50 years ago as a child, she attended some program where they sang Hare Krishna with Sufi dance. And Maharaj told a little bit about it yesterday. And after 50 years, when she heard it again, she could understand what it actually meant because there was a deep discussion on what Bhakti Yoga is all about. So it was really miraculous to see that happening. And people really find these programs very beneficial. They are very, very basic, very, very fundamental. So please, if you feel that somebody will benefit from these programs, please invite them to Mantra Zone and Bhakti Community. Yes, Premnam.
Just to add to that, the same lady, she said that she was part of a kirtan 50 years ago in Tehran.
Yeah. Well, amazing, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, everyone.
Announcements from Team ISV Book Distribution. And from Malini, who's already out distributing books. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances for Lord Prabhupada. We are traveling, we're in Southern California, Prabhu, this weekend. So we have a team who is going one spot in San Diego and one spot in Long Beach, California. And we have many other spots locally, which Katha Prabhu will announce soon. There is one small thing I wanted to share. A couple of weeks ago, we went to an Indian store in Evergreen area, and there was one person said that, "I'm sorry, I don't believe in Upanishads." We were presenting Srimad Bhagavatam, and we were saying this is the Puranas. He said, "No, I'm from Arya Samaj. I don't believe in all of these Upanishads or Puranas. I only believe in the Vedas." And then we said, "Oh, really? Okay, then you should don't read Srimad Bhagavatam because you don't believe in it. But do you mind preserving this for us in your home?" and then telling everyone about it, that this is a Purana, but I don't read, but I preserve in my home. And then he was like surprised, why are we asking them to preserve? But they said, okay, let me just give it a try. And then he asked, so how much do I pay for this? And we said, these are priceless. We don't sell, but it costs your entire life. And we asked him, can you guess how much it would be? And when we ask this question, can you guess how much is a set of Srimad Bhagavatam? They immediately become intrigued and they think that, oh, this is too much. And he said, maybe it is $500. Is that about how much it would be? And we said, it's pretty close, but we don't sell. We just ask for a donation. And he said that I don't have so much of money right now to give you, but is it okay if I give you $250 for it? We said, that's fine. We'll take whatever comes from your heart. There's no problem. And after that, he went and figured out that I don't want to take your books for half the price. So I'm going to figure out a way to double what I paid previously. So he went home, he came back, and he paid $500 for it. So it is so nice to see how even people who are not so inclined to read the Puranas or Upanishads, which probably they not have full knowledge about it, but still they are very, very eager to save and preserve this sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we're so happy that Krishna is engaging us in this service. And thank you so much, Prabhu, for the wonderful class that you gave today. And eternally grateful for that. And Kautukana Prabhu is going to announce some spots which are happening locally. And he's going to share something from his experience of going out every day on Sankirtan, weekdays, weekends as well. Thank you, Kautukana Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj and dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We have 3 spots. Santa Cruz, downtown. There is a pre-Burning Man festival in Hollister. We are going to try it out. If hopefully it is brahmachari friendly. Otherwise we'll backtrack to downtown. Santa Cruz. Adinath Krishna Prabhu is leading that team with Vaishnav Toshni Prabhu. If you like to join, please let us know. Second spot is in Concord. There's a Bay Area Spring Fest. Our dear youth team, Advait Prabhu, he's leading that team. And if you would like to join that area, please let us know. Or Advait, no. Third team is San Francisco Ferry Building. They have a farmer market. So I will be going there. If you like to join me, please let me know. These are the 3 spots. Other than that, some teams will be going locally to Indian stores, if you like to stay local. One realization that I have from book distribution is that, as Maharaj said, if we give the credit where it is due, we don't lose the credit. The past week I was in Davis, so there was a program at UC Davis organized by Swarn Vindu Prabhu and Devrata Prabhu. I could not go for book distribution past week because I was there, part of the program. So I was feeling, am I doing the right thing? Am I giving justice to my service? But I felt I'm doing the right thing because I'm being part of a bigger project. So I got a message from another devotee whom we are cultivating, and he's already chanting 16 rounds. He's connected to devotees in India. He said, Prabhu, I want a Bhagavatam. When can I collect it? And he called me 2 times already. I could not get back to him, but he's ready to pay the full donation and he's going to get a Bhagavatam. So I feel that when we do the right thing, Krishna arranges for our book distribution. Another thing is we went out on Harinam. Bhagavad Pran Prabhu and Sadhu Vrindavan Prabhu and Brian Prabhu, they did the Harinam in UC Davis campus. So we were there only for 2 hours, but we met very nice people. The last person we met, his name was Troy. He was not interested in any spirituality, but he was really interested in sustainability. So I gave him the Higher Taste book, and the moment he saw the pictures, he was immediately hooked. And he said he's a vegan for 10 years. And he was the only person, a new person who came right away on that day itself. He said, unless some disaster happens, I won't come. And he showed up for the program. So I was thinking the power of Harinam and working together, everybody doing little bit, it can make big goals. We can smash the big goals. And Krishna sees the sincerity, as Maharaj said. So thank you so much, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder, last weekend we launched the international worldwide, same thing, Bhadra Purnima event, which is 2025, leading up to 2026, where the goal for the world is 108,000 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. So just create awareness. As Kotakarna Prabhu said, when you become aware that you want to distribute books and you are looking for that, then Krishna will send you the people. So we can start meditating on how to reach our new baseline of 108,000 Bhagavatam sets worldwide. Advocate for it, and anytime you get an opportunity, please make the Bhagavatam available. It's the way Prabhupada wanted to change the world, is by inculcating this into the people's hearts all over the world. Thank you so much, Malini, for beaming in from Los Angeles. And thank you very much, Kotakarna Prabhu, for your announcement of the spots and your realizations.
I forgot to add, Mataji is also on book distribution. They're going to San Diego. Yeah, she sent me. Laguna Beach and San Diego. If anybody wants to join.
Too huge. If anybody wants to join. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any other announcement? And now we have a grain ceremony. So, yes, please.
Hare Krishna, today's prasadam was cooked by Kuladip Pran Prabhu, Shama Bhakti Prabhu, Dhir Prashant Prabhu, Prem Nitai Prabhu, and Shailen Prabhu.
And now we're just going to reorient towards the grain ceremony. We need a bhajan to start in the next 20 seconds. And we'll see you over there. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, if you have a Toyota RAV4 car which is parked in the parking lot, please remove that car because we have to serve the prasadam. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, sing something, go. Okay, give me a... Okay. Start like fast. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Savana Bhavatu, Savana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavahai, Tejasvinam Adityam Astuma, Vidvishabhai. Om Shantis, Shantis, Shantihi. Om Swasino Govinda, Swasino Chutaranta, Swasino Vasudevo, Vishnu Dharatu, Sasino Narayano Naro Vai, Sasina Padmarava Purushottam Dharatu, Swasino Vishvakshena Vishveshwaraha, Swasino Hrishikesho Harir Dharatu, Swasino Vainatayu Harihi, Swasino Ananjana Suto Hanur Bhagavatu Dharatu, Swasti Swasti Sumangalai Kesho Mahanshi Krishna Sakchit Anandana Ganaha Sarveshwareshwaru Dharatu, Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Our dear Renansh, today we're going to be conducting your first grain ceremony, first among many samskars, to help you remember Krishna throughout your entire life. And our deepest gratitude and appreciation for Priyanka and Pratik, and Yuga Rasika Devi Dasi for cooperating together to bring in a brand new sadhu into the world, to walk the earth and help many people. Hare Krishna. So this first grain ceremony is extremely heartfelt because, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva, that I'm here to assist you in every possible way. And he mentions, Riyansh, that he comes even as your digestion. So now as you're coming to 6 months, and you're feeling yourself hungry, today your first grains will be Mahaprasadam, indicating your continuance of devotional service from your last life. Nobody gets Mahaprasadam when they're 6 years old in this world, except 6 months old, except for very rare souls. Right? So, to bring special meaning to this ceremony today and to invoke auspiciousness, we're going to chant together the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, as is our tradition at a grain ceremony. The potency of the Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in the Gita Mahatmya, and just by reciting half a verse or a full verse, what to speak of a whole chapter, one brings unlimited blessings. So may the power of the Bhagavad Gita come to you, Riyansh, in your first grain ceremony this morning. Purushottam Yoga. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Urdhva Mulam Madha Shakam Ashvatam Prahur Avyayam Jadamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Saveda Ved Adashchurvam Prashritastasya Shaka Guna Pravrida Vishaya Prabhala Adashta Mulan Anusantatani Karmanubandini Manushya Loke Narupamasyeha Tatopalabyate Nanto Nachadir Nachasampratishta Ashvatamenam Suvaruda Mulam Asanga Shastrena Dritena Chitva Tatakpadam Tat Parimargitavyam Yasmin Gatana Nirvatanti Bhuya Tameva Chadyam Purusham Prapadye Yatha Pravriti Prashrita Purani Nirvana Moha Jita Sangha Dosha Adhyatma Nitya Vidivritta Kama Vanverva Mukta Sukha Dukha Sangher Gachantya Mura Paramavyayamta Nattad Pasayate Suryo Nashashanko Napavakaha Yadgatvana Nivartante Taddama Paramam Mama Mamaivam Sho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manakshasta Indriyani Prakriti Stani Karshati Shariram Yagapatnoti Yaschak Yukramatishvara Grihipaitani Samyati Vayurgandani Vashaya Shotram Chakshus Parshanam Cha Rasanam Granameva Cha Adhishtaya Manaschayam Vishayanupasevate Ukramantam Stitam Vapi Munjanam Vagunanvitam Vimudhananu Pashyanti Pashyanti Jnana Chakshushaha Yatanto Yoginaschainam Pashyantyatman Yavastitam Yatanto Pyakritatmano Nainam Pashyantya Chetasaha Yadaditya Gatam Tejo Jagadvasayate kilam Yachchandramasi yachchagnau Tateno vidilamakam Gam avishya cha bhutani Darayam yaham ojasa Pushnami chalsadhi sarva Somo bhutva rasatmakaha Aham vaishvanaro bhutva Kaninam deham ashrita Anapana samayukta Pachamyanam chaturvidam Sarvasya chaham hridisani vishto Matasmitir jnanam apohanam cha Vedaischa sarve ahameva vedyo Vedanta krivena videva chaham Vladima purusha loke Shara eva cha Shara sarvani bhutani Kutasto shara uchate Uttama purushastvanya Paramatne tudalita Yo lokatrayam avishya Vibhartagya ya ishvaraha Yasmat sharamatitoham Aksharat apichotama Atosmi loke dedecha Patita purushottama Yo mamevam sambudho Janati purushottamam Sasarva vid bhajati mam Sarva bhavena bharata Iti kuyatamam shastram Idam uktam mayanaka Etad bhutva buddhimam syat Prita pritascha bharata Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Purushottam Yoga Nama Panchamokhyakayaha Hari Om. And now, with your cooperation, Riyansh, we would like to give you the first grains of Mahaprasadam. Are you ready? Kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ramo Ramo Hare Hare.
Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ramo 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Well done, Rayansh. Now, Rayansh, we're going to introduce you to a test to get you ready for your SATs. And this was a simple test of selection. We have before you two items. One is the Srimad Bhagatam, and on the other side, huge piles of cash and jewels. So here, for your amusement and to show scientifically your proclivity in life, please choose from Srimad Bhagatam or the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. I think you have to back up a little bit and put him, yeah. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He's taken Krishna book. Haribol. So this indicates, since you went for the 10th canto, the summary of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that you're born in this world with a desire in your heart to hear about the personal pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we pray on this day, may Krishna always reside in your heart, and may your ears always hanker to hear the Leela of Krishna in the Krishna book. And you and I are going to read later together. And may you be a merciful devotee who makes Krishna's pastimes available to everybody in the world. Om Tat Sat. Everybody who agrees with this prayer in whole or in part, on behalf of Rayansh, please say Hare Krishna. Yay. Well done, Rayansh. Thank you very, very much for bringing a beautiful devotee into the world. We need many, many more. I hereby declare this first grain ceremony for Rayansh to be a complete success. Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Sharira Vidyaja Jorendriya Taheka Jive Fele Vishaya Sagore Karmadhe Jivayati Lobha Moy Sundurmati Take Jeta Katina Samsare Krishna Badodoyamo Kori Bhare Jivajai Swaprasadanna Dilobhai Se Annamrita Pao Radha Krishna Guna Gao Preme Dhako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Preme Dhako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Mahaprasade Govinde Namo Brahmane Vaishnave Svalpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishvasana Vajayate Prasade Sarva Dhukana Manirashopajayate Prasanna Cheta Soyashu Buddhi Paryavachishtate Tvayopa Bhukta Shrakanda Vasalankara Chachita Uchishta Bodhino Dasas Tavamayam Jayamahi Shuksham Paryushitam Vapi Nitam Vadaradeshataha Prati Matrena Bhoktavyam Natra Kala Vicharana Nadesha Niyamastatra Na Kala Niyamastata Praptamannam Dhutam Shishte Bhoktavyam Hariram Bhagavad Shri Mahaprasadam Ki